Big voice. KWTN 100.9 FM. Nebraska. The official radio station of the Winnebago Tribe.
KWTN 100.9 FM. Welcome everybody as we get our monitor set to a beautiful Tuesday here in Winnebago lands. This is Winnebago Talks. DJ Guaranteed, Garan Coons, Communications Officer for the Winnebago Tribe. Like to make sure we get our audio levels set and have an introduction of our co-host.
Hello everybody, good day, good afternoon, good night. I am DJ Bethani Redhorn, the Winnebago Communications Office Manager.
Alrighty, and we also have Tyler. Go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. I am Tyler Snake, the Winnebago Indian News Office Circulation Manager.
Welcome, Tyler. And last but not least, go for it.
Brian Chamberlain, editor for the Winnebago Indian News. Good morning, everyone.
Man, we have some news to talk about here. So just to kind of give you an overview of what we're going to be tuning in here for today. We have the emergency Winnebago Tribe's emergency manager. We have some severe weather that's going to be taking place over here in the next couple weeks and maybe even the months. But it's always to be prepared. And so Julie is going to be with us here today. We have the Kikijide. Did I say that right?
Yep.
The Community
Kikijide.
Crisis Response Team, Pete Bass and the crew are going to be coming up here to talk about some important announcements that they have. And just to kind of PSA their program in general. And then we have the rant of the day, the Did You Know section with DJ Bethani, and the answer is...
Yes, and plus a joke of the day.
Oh!
I found one, you're going to love it.
So we have to balance it out. Yes. We got to do some laughing. We got to do some learning. And if you have an opportunity, if you can help us out, folks, we got important information to share. And then we're going to share some of our stories as well and stuff. But if you have opportunity, make sure you tell your cousins, your friends, your relatives to tune in here today to learn about what Winnebago talks about. Speaking of Winnebago Talks, Winnebago and the news. All right, Tyler, what you got for him? Bagel Bits.
Okay, I skipped last week, so I'm going to read last week.
Okay.
The previous issues stuff. So I kind of just talk about the events that go around Winnebago in the Bagel Bits. It's on the front page, left-hand side.
Yeah.
So I'm blinking. WCHS holds an annual Easter egg extravaganza. It's just a big family event and, just celebrating the holiday.
Yeah, was it like 12,000 eggs? Was that what it was?
13,000.
13? Wow. And then, so how did it go?
It was pretty good. There's petting zoo. There's even a snake there, which is, I was scared. But they have face painting, just a bunch of little booths.
And it went well.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Well, thank you to the WCHS crew for doing that. I know the kids, they always remember that. My young ones and stuff. It was a little rainy on Easter Sunday. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it was a little chilly and stuff. But I think that day was just a little, wasn't bad. Maybe sweater weather. Is that
Sweater weather.
Yeah. And so that turned out good.
Yeah.
What else do you got?
Okay, and then I talked about Wildlife in Parks having a Earth Day event. So the community came down to the Big Bear Park and they had food and everybody got a plant or a tree to plant.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Cool. There you go.
And then last but not least, a lot of the entities around town had a career fair at WPS, career/college fair.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so just a good opportunity to see what the opportunities are around.
Yeah. I had the opportunity to go down there. HR wanted to borrow one of our tabletop covers and went down there, and it was a good turnout. There was kids lining up, so everybody that had a hand in the organizers and the information booths that were set up for that. I seen my kids down there, Piga and Mimi.
I see Mimi right there.
Oh, yeah, there she is. And she took a picture of the HR director with the HR director. That's Tara Hernandez and also Liz. Shout out to Liz and stuff, doing the thing down there. So hopefully a future, whatever Mimi may become, whether it be DJ or whatever and stuff. I don't want to embarrass her and stuff, but she attended Bancroft Prom, and we had an opportunity. We did it for my son, is that we did his last prom, DJ'd it. And
cool.
yeah, they all had a good time. It was a lot of dancing, a lot of fun, and everything. Now it's a little bit changed, guys. You know, when it comes to prom, like you get the big three out of the way. That's the cha-cha slide, the Cupid shuffle,
big three.
and then you do a slow dance, and that's it. You know, and it's like, come on, man! Like you guys gotta jam out to the rest of. What was some of your songs that you danced to back in the prom days of Winnebago High School?
My junior year, our DJ was terrible.
Oh, was it?
Oh gosh, yeah, because we grew up, here the R&B vibe was everywhere.
Yeah.
He tried to bring in glam rock. It did not work, dude. It didn't. And then everyone was like, okay, can you play something else? Can you play something else? And then so whatever. But then my senior year, no, we had some good songs. So.
Yeah. What was the song? Was it like? I'm trying to think here.
There were a lot of different ones. Of course, En Vogue came out. Then that was kind of the beginning. Technotronic had, Get Up. Also, Tony.
Yes.
We're really hitting it at that point. Belle Biv DeVoe, Poison. That was everywhere.
I bet.
That winter, and then throughout the next 20 years. But so a lot of good stuff.
Man, and then Tyler, you didn't get to go to prom, right? Is that what we talked
Yeah,
about?
I just wasn't here for it.
Yeah, and then
She got asked, but she boycotted. She says, that's
I don't want to
it.
turn
She
everybody
ghosted
down.
and then Bethany.
I went to my senior year. I would say that like a prominent song that we used to dance a lot to. There's a lot. There was like the Stanky Leg, there was Walk It Out, Soulja Boy, Pop Lock and Drop It.
Hey man, you were in the heyday, man.
We even had like the Back into the 99 and 2000s and the Yin Yang Twins, Lil Jon and the East Side Boys. I don't know, man.
We're gonna have to put these on the top 5, man. That's what
Dance
I'm talking
battle.
about.
Nah, just kidding.
I'm gonna get canceled here. I know I am, but I went to Gathering of Nations. Yeah, see, everybody.
We'll see you guys next week. Thanks for
gotta
listening.
go.
But I had a logic to it because I was fancy dancing, right? And I was
Just
like,
had to pay $25 for it.
back in 90s and stuff, I don't think it was that much and stuff. So this was when I was a senior, 98, 99 and stuff. But I was like, hey man, is it 3 days of dancing or 1 night of dancing? So I chose the 3 days of dancing, went to Gathering of Nations and stuff. But yeah, it was just like I missed out on my proms and stuff. Nonetheless.
To that point though, squirrel moment in that, was it always as commercially rank as it is today?
I
Back
remember.
then, was it actual a legit event that, let's go and have fun?
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
whoever the guy is that, I love it. I don't know his name, but they vilify him on social media. I
Man.
love it.
It was horrible.
I gotta
Yes.
scroll. Real quick. I gotta go short. So over the recent gathering that they had, there was shout out to Perry. She shared this meme, and I don't know if it was for real. I didn't see it on TikTok, but they were saying that they were live streaming on TikTok, but they had like a cutout of him like blocking the view. So like it was live streaming, but he was blocking it, and it was like his afro, and he was all blurred, but you could barely see past, and like people were like, get out of the way, and like.
I didn't see that. I love that.
Man,
I
that's
love
crazy.
it. I love it. I love it.
Anyway, so now that I got canceled, do you have any more bagel bits?
I do not, but just
Okay.
a reminder for everybody, if you want to pick up a copy and you don't get it mailed to your house or your mailbox, you can check out Hazing. We post the link on our Facebook page, or you can also check out the archives, or around town. We have a couple stands.
Man, you guys are gearing up for graduations.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Talk about graduations, including this weekend.
She's flying.
We have Little Priest on the same day as Winnebago Public School,
Yeah.
Educare, and then all the other graduations like from college, and then the surrounding Winnebago tribal members and just natives in general and stuff that are going to be walking across that stage.
A lot of
So
that.
pay attention to the question of the issue that's going to be coming out this Saturday. So a mail or a Winnebago Indian News will be in your mailbox on Saturday. So make sure you check that on out.
Absolutely.
Tyler, appreciate you. Thank you for coming in.
Yep.
And are you facing Bethany here today? Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Get it
Represent the
longer.
win.
Okay, before you go then, the hint for the answer B, think about history.
His
I already know it's going to be about Cinco de Mayo. Right?
Oh, okay. All right. All
It's
right.
totally wrong.
I'd like to call it Julie to come on up here. And Brian, let's see here. Did I have anything for Brian? Did we want to make... Oh, I know you usually kind of do like an overview of the Winnebago in the news and stuff like that. Just give us a recap. How did spring cleaning go?
It went really, really well. Of course, what he's talking about is the Winnebago tribe hosts their seasonal community cleanup. So the springtime version of that happened last week. It was the 3 days in the middle of the week. And of course, I believe it's Gil Hauling comes down and they donate or have the large roll-off dumpsters set up. We did happen to clean out the Winnebago Indian News office. So shout out to Tyler and the crew. You guys all had a hand in that because we had a lot of old issues and stuff like that we just needed to get rid of because we had too many of them, as well as so many other people. Myself, personally, me and the neighbors all cleaned out from the tree damage that occurred from a couple months ago. Remember when we had all of that ice and slush?
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy how many of the branches fell that day.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, wow, I thought those trees would kind of hang in there with that, you know, but they didn't. So able to clean up and do all that, but community cleanup, they usually do it every spring, every fall. The spring version went really, really well. Also, the other thing we're gearing up because, like you said, graduations are occurring everywhere. The high school and Little Priest Tribal College will be this weekend. And then, of course, you said Educare. The 8th grade graduations are in the middle of next week. So Winnebago Public School as well as St. Augustine's, those will be happening. And then also, don't forget this coming Sunday is Mother's Day. So if you have a shout out or a image that you want to place and say Happy Mother's Day to your mom, you still have time to get a hold of myself or tyler.snake@winnebagotribe.com, and you can place a happy ad for Happy Mother's Day because our deadline is close of business today.
When we did spring cleaning, I just wanted to kind of share this story with you folks, is that we had all the issues for, probably about 3-4 years.
Yeah.
And they were laid out in the other room and just kind of like making sure that we are all kind of in that chronological order, right? It was wonderful to see. Now, the Winnebago in the News, when you're, it's a community thing.
Yes.
We have storytellers in there. We have obituaries. We have public notices. We have news stories. And you have the page 6, which is kind of more towards... in Winnebago,
societal things,
Yeah, in Winnebago, as far as entertainment and stuff, but all this stuff is historical. I'm just thinking like 50 years from now. And then I really appreciate the contributors, the advertisers, and everybody, and your guys' work on it. The reason you guys work so hard is because we have brothers and sisters behind bars.
Yes.
They look forward to reading the Winnebago on the News and what's taking place. We have people outside the reservation that look forward to getting their Winnebago on the News. So thank you, man.
Oh, absolutely. And to that point, we're very much happy to do that. And always keep us updated with your addresses, tyler.snake@winnebagotribe.com. Because to that point, we've gotten a lot of feedback. Is like when it was in the Joy Man, and then people would want to read it and stuff. So we try to give as much readable content as possible. And then also, one more thing with that, over the past weekend, I also got a great shout out from a previous college professor, and she said, I read it cover to cover. There's so much stuff that we're actually able to see with it now, and I appreciate getting it. I couldn't, I said, thank you.
And that's why I want to give, it's like kind of giving the flowers and stuff to the Winnebago on the News.
I mean, and it's definitely not about an individual. I'm not taking any kind of, it's the team effort, and of course the community itself, for making all of the things available for the tribal membership.
All righty. MCBKC, the
bit.
Winnebago in the News editor. We'll see you in a bit here. Now we're going to get into our next section here. Give us your introduction and welcome here. You have some important information. So folks, just if you want to kind of make a mental note or maybe jot these down, but let us know who you are. Back again.
I'm Julie Smithart. I'm the Emergency Management Coordinator for the Winnebago Tribe.
And Julie, we are in the season of changing, right?
Oh, yeah.
So what do we have going on?
All right. Well, obviously, we are in tornado season. It started a little early this year, but and it usually runs pretty much through August. So we'll be able to make sure that everybody keeps up on what's going on, knowing what those warnings, watches, and what they mean.
Yeah.
The watches mean you just need to keep your eye on the sky, basically, making sure that you see what's coming.
Right.
See what direction is, watch the clouds, see what direction it's going. Another thing is when that warning comes out, take it serious.
Yeah.
I-
So
I-
there's a watch.
Yes.
So that's just kind of like, maybe perk up your ears like a dog. You know what I mean? Just kind of like hey, okay, we're just gonna make sure. And there's information, there's websites, there's TV, there's radio, all this and that. So just kind of keep that in mind. If you have something planned that day that's maybe you're out by a lake or something like that, you might want to rethink that. Now, you get into the next one, it's a warning.
Right.
And a warning, what's the difference?
The warning means that the conditions are right. In other words, the humidity's right, the rain may be already out there farther to the direction that it's coming from, the wind is right, so everything is just right for making it. And let me give you an example of, if you really want to see how this works, from the warning watch on up through. Let's just say that to be prepared, you're thinking, oh, I want tacos for dinner. So you've thought about that. So you're aware that you want tacos. So now the watch comes out. That means you've pulled all those ingredients together to make that taco.
Okay.
So you've got your hamburger, your seasonings, your lettuce, your cheese, all that stuff ready to go.
Yeah.
And then the warning is, you make tacos. They're all ready to go. They're ready to eat. So those are kind of like a little build up to say this is how those awareness, warnings, watches kind of go together.
Right,
So
right.
it's kind of just like building. You're building what you want.
Definitely.
And that tornado is not what you want, but that's the way it goes.
So Julie just sponsored Taco Tuesday for us. No, I'm just playing. But that's a good, what do they call it? Analogy?
Yeah.
And yes, so we have, now one of the questions I kind of wanted to make mention is, you got to watch out for, like, I was like, did you see that thunder? And then everybody's like, you don't see, you hear thunder. And it's like, oh, okay. I used to say that when I was a kid.
Yeah.
It's lightning. But that correlates with like rainstorms and stuff.
Yes.
What are some other things on that one?
Well, basically, any kind of storm can cause damage. A lot of high winds, the hail can strip siding, can strip paint.
Yeah.
So those are some of the things that may not be a tornado, but just a severe weather incident or storm. And I try to put those out as far as anything that's really disastrous coming.
Yeah.
I do alert tribal council and the department heads, so everybody kind of has an idea of what's coming up. I know for the blizzard, I was putting stuff out 2 days in advance on that, saying, hey, they're expecting this is going to be bad, this is coming.
Yeah.
So that should not have been a big surprise.
Right.
But, so that kind of thing, I do put it out. The only thing is I'll tell you right now, when there is a tornado warning, which means there is one somewhere in the area, by the time I get that warning that there is one developed, and get on my computer and get in and get my alert put together, I can do that within minutes, but seconds is the problem.
Yeah.
Tornadoes, can drop down just out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, there's conditions for it. So, I'm telling everybody to get your own warning system. There's apps out there that are online, free, on their phone. Everybody has their phone with them like 24/7 anymore. And you can set those up. The one that I like specifically is the one that Red Cross puts out, and it's called Emergency. And it has a little red exclamation point on there.
Yeah.
And you can actually go in and tell which alerts you want to hear. Because there's a lot of alerts out there that you don't care about.
Right.
We don't care about the tsunamis. We're nowhere close to an ocean or hurricanes. So you can actually go in and turn on and turn off which alerts you want to hear. And I'm just basically saying severe weather of any kind, whether it's winter weather or tornado weather or just severe storms. If you have those three on there and turned on to where you're getting them, then, and you can put in your specific zip code so that it's just for your home. And then you can also set it for where you're at. In other words, it will, if you are on vacation in Florida and it will get the alerts for that area, which is wonderful because half the time when you're on vacation, you don't get that stuff.
Yeah. Julie, I got a question. And maybe this is, I work for the Winnebago Tribe, and I took the PIO training, public information training.
Yes.
And we offered that, and a lot of our staff took it, and as Winnebago, some of the council members took it as well. And they talk about a 95-5 rule. So 95% of the time you're doing your regular work. So we're, doing the big screen, radio shows, Winnebago in the news, all this stuff. So we're doing that 95% of the time. But there's always that 5% where you're going to have to maybe prepare for weather, or maybe there's an incident, emergency command, all this and that stuff. So we have that kind of some of those tools.
Yes.
One of the tools that you help develop and kind of maintain is that text alert. So when we get as employees hey, we're closing down today and stuff like that, is that for Winnebago tribal members as well? Anybody can, because the school alerts
Yes.
are hey, we're dismissing at 10 a.m. We get that. Is how do we sign up for that, or is that just for Winnebago tribal employees?
It's pretty much for employees, but obviously if you can get me your information, I can put it in the system.
The more people, the better. Is that kind of what we're saying?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
To be honest, I don't know if there is a maximum number or not that I can put into the system.
Yeah.
I really don't know. I'd have to check on that.
Okay. And you mentioned Red Cross.
Yeah.
So that might be one, or I think KTIV
Oh, yeah.
has one, or the news channels up
yes.
in Sioux City.
There's all kinds of, like I said, there's on apps of all kinds. I just prefer the ones that I can go in and adjust to
Yeah.
fit my needs. Because if you're getting like I said, tsunamis, I don't care.
Yeah.
And I don't know why you would care unless you've got somebody in that area.
And then it might be better to sign up for the Red Cross one, because let's say some of our tribal members, they travel to Seattle and something happens there. I think it kind of follows your cell phone location.
Yes.
So it makes aware, it plugs
Yes.
into those areas and stuff.
It
So it
definitely
might be
does.
better to do a national one
Yes.
as well.
Yes.
All right.
I mean, obviously, the local ones are great. Any type of alert is better than no alert.
Yeah.
But if you can get the ones that will follow you, which the Red Cross will do, there's just a little, push this button and it will do wherever you are immediately.
Yeah.
So it's
Okay.
kind of one of the, and I think you can set up to 8 different locations. So, if you've got family and friends in other areas of the country and you want to know when there's an alert there, I mean, and it does everything from volcanoes to earthquakes to tsunamis, hurricanes. So besides the typical winter weather and spring storm weather or summer storm weather.
I know you got something cooking up. What do you got?
So I was just going across these visuals, and I pulled up the American Red Cross and just tried to show some of the visuals that are available for you if you have your phone or maybe a laptop or something handy. And whoa, sorry, that was my shoe. But just to be able to kind of keep your weather insight up to date. So
Yeah.
Julie, how do we get a hold of you?
Julie.smithart, and that's SMITHART at WinnebagoTribe.com.
All right. And they even branded you a name and stuff like it when they're trying to see if we're going to dismiss earlier or if they're...
everybody's calling for Julie.
Yeah, Auntie Julie, come on, call it. But,
No. I want to make this very clear. I do not call that. It's Darla. So if you want to get a hold of somebody, get a hold of Darla if you're pushing that. I can't put it out until she tells me to.
Right. And but it's just that they're just waiting for the notification, and it usually comes from you. So,
yes, it will
as
come
they're-
from me, yes.
Right. So, and we appreciate that.
Yes.
One of the things, and we have a rant of the day, but here's a little one, is that a lot of people will say, geez, they call off when there's a little flurry and all this and that. But man, I got kids on the road. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's could just take one little ice spot and stuff. I'd rather have them keep them safe or get our employees home when that time comes. Of course, we're past the winter months and stuff, but when that time comes, I see a lot of chatter You know, it's like they're closed today, blah 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 and stuff. But you got to consider you don't want nobody to get hurt. You know,
Yes.
what if somebody does get hurt and knock on
Then,
wood and everything?
yeah.
It's just a different story. So
Well, I'm monitoring the roads too. It's not just the weather in the sky. I'm also monitoring the Nebraska 511 and the Iowa 511 just to see that the roads are getting cleared or whether they're partially covered in ice or whatever. So I that is part of my decision also of passing on information that so it's not just what's falling out of the sky.
yeah. Well, thank you, Julie. Appreciate you. Come back again when the season changes, or if we got something. I think I want you on before Winnebago Powwow.
Oh,
Let's
yes.
just discuss some of those things and stuff.
Yep,
and we had that
absolutely.
discussion
Yeah.
internally and stuff. But Julie Smith, our emergency manager, thank you for your time.
Yes,
You're very
thanks,
welcome.
Julie.
Thanks.
Tacos.
Tacos. Now I'm hungry.
What do you got for him?
Okay, so I wanted to remind everybody a couple things of our programming throughout the week. So over this last week, we did not have a new episode of the sports show, but we will be live here in the studio, live at 5 for the Big Boy Sports Talk Show, hosted by Coach Q and B-Love, tomorrow, May 7th at 5 p.m.
Awesome. So they got a whole slew of
Whole
sports
heap.
update. I think it's been about 2 weeks
Yes.
since they've been on. I know that they got some traveling
Yep.
in, and some of the teams did some traveling and
Yes.
sports.
And then we kind of was on our remote gig hall trail.
Yes. Winnebago's 33rd anniversary.
Yes.
Hey, Bethany, can you step out there and I'll talk to the
Gotcha.
good folks and see if we can get our next guest, as we are going to be welcoming the Community Crisis Response Team from the Winnebago Comprehensive Healthcare System. If you have opportunity, just kind of wanted to recap that, is that the Winnebago Comprehensive Healthcare System debuted a new website. If you have an opportunity, make sure you check it on there. It talks about a couple descriptions there where they have, primary care, they have behavioral health, they have services, and it runs through everything. So they're very involved in the community. It's just not, you don't have to go to the hospital to see some things and stuff like that. They're doing some outreach, and kind of brings us to our next point here with Pete Bass and Ione that we're going to be joining us here
Yes.
in a second. But yeah, I think that make sure you, Winnebago Comprehensive Healthcare is like winnebago.health, I think it is the website. If you click on that, I was telling them that they debuted a brand new website recently.
Oh, yes. Yep.
Nonetheless, we are going to get ready for our next section here. We are live, and so I'd like to welcome in our two guests here for helping us on out. I want you guys to go ahead and give us an introduction, let people know who you are, and we'll kind of go from there. So I don't know if we want to start. Ladies first.
Yeah, that sounds good.
I'm Ione Suarez, and I'm from here in Winnebago, and I'm the crisis response worker for KWTN.
Oh, thank you, Ione, for being here, taking time out, and go ahead.
Peter Bass. I also am part of the KWTN crisis response program. I'm just a worker like Ione, so
Definitely. I wanted to kind of ask you some questions, and then Bethany, she has some questions for you folks and stuff. But go ahead and tell us about your program.
okay. Well, we are a on-site crisis response program. So, if any of the relatives are in a crisis, and that's different for each individual. Some are similar, but for the most part, the coping skills that are needed to get back to that level, playing field where they can continue their day. That's kind of what we do. We assess the severity of the situation, of the crisis. We de-escalate back to that level playing field, and then we stabilize them. We try to keep them stabilized, and if we need to, through our assessment, we'll do a warm handoff to a professional.
Okay.
So
Definitely. And then when is it, like 9 to 5, or kind of tell us about that? How come, if we're in crisis?
Oh, so we work like 8 to 4:30, and that's you can walk in and we'll talk in person. We can meet you where you're at. You can call in, and then after hours from 4:30 to 8 in the morning again, we are on the crisis line. You can call us whenever.
My mom was a lab technician for many, many years down at the hospital.
Yeah.
I don't remember that, but they used to call her the vampire lady because she's always dealing with the blood. But she would be on call. And so some nights she would get called up 2 o'clock in the morning, and then, you know, that was part of, she would recognize that. Is that kind of similar? You got somebody like on call that would maybe take a call, you know, later after business hours?
Yeah. So right now I'm on call until Friday. So after hours, you can just call and I have to answer.
Yeah, for sure. That's,
Yep.
I did not know that. So that's very important that we get that. I seen a billboard downtown, and it just went up, I think, yesterday.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool because it's a little bit different. We had the Water of Life on that, and then it said
Yes.
your guys' number, and then it said the after hours number. And so that's what you're talking about right
Yeah.
there, is that you'll pick up with a live person, not an automated machine. Or,
No, it goes straight to my phone. Whoever's on call will just turn their cue on and it goes straight to our phone. So you don't have to go
Yep.
through a receptionist or anything.
And then so if anybody's asking, what's the number, just go by that billboard, write it down, and watch out for the roundabout. Remember, that was your rant of the
Yes.
day, the roundabouts. But it's down there, and we're displaying it right here, so if you guys want to write that down. But I wanted to ask you guys a question. Can you tell us or give us some examples of what a crisis are like, when we should call you guys?
The crisis is whatever the individual is saying. It could be different for everyone. I think everyone thinks that a crisis is like extreme, but it's just, I think whatever's like disturbing you to keep doing your day-to-day things.
Yeah.
So
So if something's bothering you,
Yeah.
like let's say like a breakup with a girlfriend or
Yeah.
boyfriend, connect.
Exactly.
You need somebody to talk to.
Yes. Yeah, your lights shut off, you know, grief.
Grief,
You know.
yes.
Yeah, you get fired from a job. You know, there's the spectrum of that is growing.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
There's bullying online. There's like so many. It's evolving. You know what I mean? There's so many things that can cause crisis anymore. I can just imagine what was going on, COVID.
Right.
You know, that right there was traumatic for the entire nation.
Right.
So, I mean, to have somebody training with all of these different coping mechanisms, it's useful, helpful, and our people definitely could use someone to talk to.
I was, we went up to Aberdeen this past weekend, and it was about a 5-hour trip. And on the way back, they were talking about, you know, the mental health and how it's not physical. You go to a hospital and you got a, you know, broken arm, they'll mend it and stuff. But in the mental health space, there's something that, you know, feels off. It's okay to talk to you guys, or talk to, even refer us to that professional or whatever it may be and stuff, because behavioral health, mental health, when I was in high school, it wasn't like we couldn't talk, you know. What did we get from, you know, a lot of our older males and stuff? Don't cry about it, you know, all this and that and stuff. But now, man, we have to change our mind thinking. It's a whole different
Exactly.
space.
You know what, Garan? There's a huge stigma that comes with mental health, and that usually plays a major role in people not wanting to talk. You know, they don't want to be seen as not having it together or crazy or, you know,
Yeah.
not all there, goofy, whatever. You know, that there's such negative stigma that we have to try to face that and let everybody know that, you know, it's normal for everybody to have something that disrupts their peace, right? And that is not healthy thinking if you don't talk about it.
Yeah.
You know, you have to let your brain release, and sometimes that's all the person needs is just to talk. So our job is to listen non-judgmentally, right?
Right.
Yes.
And then through that, create an assessment, and then de-escalate them.
Yeah.
So like I was saying, get them back to that level playing field, and then through that, if they got to be willing to talk too.
Yeah.
You know, we can't
Yeah.
force ourselves on, you know, the relatives here. So
we helped with the bingo. What was it? Brain Health Bingo event, and a lot of people came down, and a lot of people had questions. And then Cassie, shout out to Cassie, she's the program director, and it was kind of a mind thing. So you guys got some events that you had in the past, and then I don't know if you guys have any events coming up.
We do actually. June 19th.
Okay.
We're gonna be at the Oakland Golf Club.
Oh, okay.
In Oakland, Nebraska, and we're gonna host a 9-hole men's mental health awareness
nice.
golf tournament. And
Yes.
it's not just for men either. You know, some of the ladies out there, that's important to you as well.
Yeah.
Your husband or your boyfriend, your brother, your dad. You know.
Yeah.
Their mental health. So, you know, it's for everybody, right?
When I was listening to that podcast, remember I was telling you about this? Is that happiness?
Yes.
They were talking about 4 ways to effective happiness, and she was like, I'm not a mental health therapist and stuff, but this is what helps me. And she was very articulate, and she was using words that are just kind of, but she was interesting. And one of the things that she did say is to reset. To reset, just like a computer. You got all these programs, and sometimes it needs an update. Sometimes you need to get onto the green, smell the air, and if you're frustrated or your mind just can't kind of function, you're trying to get your work done and you're getting a little frustrated, take a walk. Reset. You know what I mean? And that, I think that the golf tournament is, I just picked up golf. Me and Wombly went out last Thursday.
So fun.
And it's a little frustrating because I don't got the swing down or anything like that. But
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, we got lessons over here.
I'm, I'm no Tiger Woods.
Hands-on training.
I'm more like wish I would, you know.
But
Hit
you're
that
right.
ball.
It's peaceful.
Yeah.
It's tranquility. You know, get out. You hear the birds. People are quiet.
Right,
It's
right.
supposed to be quiet in your backswing. You know, you go with the boys. It ain't always that. You know? But,
That golf cart be coming up playing some, power
oh,
jams and stuff.
Yep.
But yeah, so June 19th.
Yep.
All right, we'll be looking for the announcements for that. You know
Yeah,
what I
there's
mean?
a flyer out now, but I don't think it's all the way finished.
Okay.
So once we touch base with marketing and see when that's going to be done, then we can move forward with that.
For
so.
sure, for sure. Bethany, you have any questions for these folks?
So like, I'm just assuming that it's probably like, say you deal with a crisis and it could, probably kind of like take a toll on your own personal like mental health. How do you kind of navigate that, or like what do you do to kind of reset yourself a little bit?
At work, we have like debriefing. We get together, we debrief with Cassie, kind of go through like, kind of get that off and off our chest. And yeah, she's really pushes for having debriefing sessions so we
Yeah.
don't hold on to it.
Right. That is very important. Now you guys have a history and stuff. You know what I mean? Like and just growing up around here, when Winnebago, you guys can see the issue. So it's kind of like what we have as a motto: for us, by us.
Yes.
And I know that if you can't get a hold of anybody, or maybe you're off site, maybe you're across the country or something, but 988 is another number that you guys can call, and making sure that even if you have a relative that's down in Arizona or on the East Coast, West Coast, wherever they may be, and they're in crisis, make sure you remember that. That's kind of like the 911.
Exactly.
But it's 988.
Yep.
And then here in the local area, Winnebago, is that make sure you utilize those numbers. I think they're displaying them.
Yep, we have the crisis response number at 402-745-3968. And then we have the behavioral health after hours crisis line, which is 712-259-3263.
Yep.
In Indian country, there's we have a high rate of suicide, and I think that it's just we need to talk about it, and that's what you guys are here to do.
Exactly.
It's a hard subject to talk about.
It is, and we don't realize it, but subconsciously, right? We are walking into historical trauma the moment we were born, right?
Yeah.
We all know the history behind our people and what had happened. So, when we get out of the hospital, we see that flag, as a baby, we don't know anything, but we see that red, white, and blue, and we're all citizens of the United States, right? we were just recently citizens, what, in the past 60, 70 years? Like,
Yeah.
So, I mean, take it for what it is. You know, I feel like that is where it's at. Generational trauma is another thing, you know. And kudos to all the parents who, you know, are out here trying to break those generational curses, the things that didn't sit right with you, how you were raised, and you know, and that still goes on today, right? However, when we're young parents, we feel like we're not good parents, right? But what we need to realize is that we're all growing together. Parents and their child, we're all growing and maturing together, you know.
Yeah.
And sometimes we get a little hard on ourselves, you know, and that could cause some issues there, you know. And just for my people, I want everybody to look in the mirror and be happy, man. And at least you're trying your hardest to be the best that you can be, right? Happiness is where it's at, man.
Yep.
You know, there's no need life is too short to be walking around upset, envious, jealous. You know, forgive.
Yes.
Forgive. That's the main thing, and it feels so good, you know.
Yeah. Sometimes you need somebody to talk to guide you on how to let that off your chest.
Yeah.
And that's what you guys are here for.
Exactly.
Just like first responders and stuff, you know, there's that mental health response that needs to take place. And sometimes it's just like that crucial, I mean, it's almost like a thin line of going over to the dark side, or bad thoughts, I guess I should say.
And it's hard to get out of that, Garan. You know, if somebody's in that state where it's depression, anxiety. I had an anxiety attack like 5 years ago, and I thought I was dying, man. You know, I couldn't catch my breath. My thoughts were just getting the best of me.
Yeah.
And I don't ever want to feel that again. So that kind of drew me into this field, and exactly what you said, that's what we are. I'm doing training right now on psychological first aid. So that's, you nailed it, man.
Yeah.
That's what it is. You know, they call it instant trauma or situational trauma. So that's like a car accident, right? We had a couple of car accidents, man, in the past week and a half that were, you know, we're lucky that our relatives are still here, you know. And I feel like me or Ione should have been with the EMS when pulling up to the site, right? Just because it's so clouded with, you know, they're scared, they're unsure, and you know, I think that's a huge thing for us to get into, and I don't think we're there yet. I mean, I'm not too sure what's holding that part back, but I feel like that's a need, you know, to be on site with EMS if something like that happens. So, you know, there's a lot of relatives around, man, that seen things, and you know, seen that.
That's the thing about Winnebago is we're really close knit. We all kind of, once something like that happens, it starts the telephone, I guess. A lot of people, and of course, we're all concerned, and prayers to everybody that you know, road to recovery is what that's what the prayers need to be now. When you come into grief and stuff, the same thing. It's just like, all right, the funeral's done, and then I know when my dad passed away, the loneliest time is when I went back to my house, and I was just like, God dang, you know, it's just like, and I was in my thoughts. So, and they, you know, the elders said talk to somebody and stuff, you know, and so I talked to my mom, I talked to my wife and stuff, you know, talked to my kids, and that helped me get through that and stuff. But we're all gonna go through grief. You know, that's one thing that is something, because we have big hearts, you know, as natives and stuff, you know, we love our relatives as anything, you know. We don't have much in this world, but one thing we do have is a wealth of love for our relatives. So I appreciate you guys. Is there anything else that you want to make mention to them, or we'll give you an opportunity to send any shout outs or last words of encouragement, anything like that?
I just want to add in there, I was telling Garan recently, we were kind of just talking about like resetting and stuff like that, and then it was around Earth Day, and so I was telling him that, because I kind of like recently had some stuff and I was going through some things, and I just, you know, I was venting to Garan about it, and it was actually one of your posts that I seen, and it was around Earth Day, and you were talking about grounding yourself and just going out, taking your shoes off. I seen it and I was just like, everything I was dealing with, I was just like, you know what, that's what I'm gonna do. I just put my phone down, I went out and I just stood out in the nature, had my feet in the grass, and I feel like it really helped. And you know, some just simple things like that.
That's great. I'm glad that a post was able to help her, you know, regain her spirit and like, you know, be able to move forward positively. Happy for you that that you can do that and you can utilize things that way. And you know, it's all part of understanding and self-educating. You know, you can get a tool from, you know, that's what we do. You know, we give you a tool to help you not get back down underneath that threshold, that line there. And I'm enjoying my job. It's a lot right now because I'm doing nothing but training, so I'm just like cramming all kinds of different, you know, things in my brain here, and it's a little overwhelming, but I'm excited to move forward and start helping my relatives, and you know.
We did some PSAs, and I'm gonna play a PSA for you here and try to get this ready real quick and stuff. But I know that you've been part of the Winnebago community, and you know, live here, and you know, growing a family here and everything too. I guess I just wanted to ask you, like, why do you stay with the program, and what kind of drew you into the program?
I just know that I feel like our community needs it more. For sure.
And more awareness.
Yes, more
These
awareness.
Numbers can like really save somebody's life. I mean, it's just unexplainable on some of that and stuff. But I can tell that you guys are both passionate of trying to help people, and that's what we're trying to do. You know, it's just kind of like, if it's just lending an ear, making a post, or just seeing a smiling face. You know, you can brighten somebody's face up with a smile. And so with that, I wanted to debut this PSA. This is going to be running on the Big Voice Radio. And so if you guys ever like, oh man, I don't have that number or anything like that, it will be playing at the top of our show. It features Pete here and some good words. So here's today's public service announcement.
Greetings, Winnebago community. Pete Bass, Outreach Specialist with the KWTN program, speaking to you from the Winnebago Behavioral Health Department at the 12 Clans Unity Hospital. We want you to know that help is always accessible. Our Community Crisis Response Team, part of the KWTN Help Each Other initiative, is dedicated to reaching out and providing support wherever it's needed. We can even come to you. If you or someone you know is in crisis, please don't wait. Call our crisis line at 402-745-3968. Or for after-hours support, please dial 712-259-3263. Contact us at the Winnebago Behavioral Health Department, located within the 12 Clans Unity Hospital. We are here to offer guidance, support, and a helping hand. KWTN, let's help each other through.
Nice, good job, man. Good job. Man, that was awesome.
Sounded awesome. Did you edit that?
Yeah. We'll just put a little kind of background music and all that and stuff. But yeah, man. So if anybody, again, what you said, let's help each other.
Yep.
Let's help each other for sure.
That's what it stands for, and we can do it, man. You know, people just have to be willing to talk. You know, you have to be willing to get things off your chest. You know, and just give it a try one time. You know, it don't have to be your most vulnerable situation, right? Something that's minor. Talk about it, see how you feel. See if we can help you turn your positive thinking around, you know, your healthy thinking.
For sure. So for sure. Ione, anything that you want to make mention, Bethany?
I just wanted to say that our program is for, like, you have to be, it's all voluntary.
Okay.
So we aren't forcing it on anybody, because I feel like, you know, some people are like, whoa, like, and then if they feel it's forced, then we're not going to get them the help they need.
You even have a mobile unit.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, you can come to them. It's like, I don't want to get dressed or anything like that, or, you know, take my person down there, or if somebody needs help and all that. You guys have a mobile unit, you know, so we're trying everything to make sure that we're healthy, because we got to help each other. DJ Bethany?
I just want to say I think that you both are doing really amazing jobs, and Ion, I love you so much, and I'm so proud of you.
Oh, that's
And
good
me
to
and her,
say,
we
yeah.
go back to diaper days. This is my wife for life. So
What about me? You
and that's my big bro. You're my big bro. I love you too.
You know
That's
that's
awesome.
right.
Good job. Thank you guys for coming in.
No
Thanks.
doubt. Thanks for having us.
Yep. See you guys.
All right. And so
Yeah.
I wanted to add in there and also make mention that we also have All Request Live.
Yep.
And so I wanted to give a big shout out to MCBKC for holding it down for me last week. And if you join us this Thursday, actually we'll have, as I mentioned last time, the in-person special guest coming in. And I can't wait to tell the story. It was pretty cool how it came about. And so I'm excited for that. And so that'll be during All Request Live on Thursday at 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. And we'll have our top 5 coming out today. So make sure you vote. Credence Clearwater Revival.
Go.
Still holding it down.
Man, have you seen the rain? And then it seems like you guys got to get that one off the air because it seems like every time we play that song, it rains. No.
Hey, man, with all the mushrooms, we need it.
Yeah. That's true.
The
That's true.
shrooms. Morales.
Okay, so we are getting ready for our next section. Let me see if I got something here. Let's go with a sound effect, and let's do this one.
This one makes me feel like we're being mischievous.
Did you know?
All right. So, quick disclaimer, just real quick. I was doom scrolling a little bit. I came across a video, and it was basically a guy talking about, he was kind of basically like breaking down a video that he saw. So my curiosity got the best of me. I went and looked because I just had to see what he was talking about. But there was this girl that was doing a seafood boil, and so she had live crabs, and she decided to make them in an air fryer. And so she did the live crabs on live stream and just basically tortured them.
Oh,
and so
no.
what came from it though is
Yeah.
did you know? Because what I didn't know is that crabs can feel pain.
Oh.
And so what kind of made me, and I don't mean to make anybody sad thinking about it, I'm just like, it made me almost want to go out and get 2 crabs
And
just
raise
to
them?
set them free. No,
Yeah.
just so they don't, just because of those 2 crabs that I just watched. But it says that studies have shown that they do possess, is it nociceptors or nociceptors? Nociceptors.
Okay.
Nociceptors. But it says nerve endings that detect pain. And their brains process painful stimuli. This includes behaviors like pain guarding and seeking, and I don't even know how to pronounce that, analgesics or something, indicating they experience pain and they try to avoid it.
Yeah.
And so watching that, they just suffered. She just tortured them on live stream.
Oh, no.
In the air fryer.
Damn.
And they felt that pain the whole time.
Man.
I'm so sorry, guys, but that was my did you know, because I didn't know that crabs could feel pain like that.
Yeah, yeah. And so, good news is that they don't have crab legs at Winnebago anymore. So we found the reason. maybe the manager was like, "Hey, we don't want to put no torture on
Enough is enough.
you." But crab legs, man, you gotta love them. You know?
No, I do love crab legs, so I'm so sorry.
But yeah. It's human. What do they call that?
Well, okay, so like
torture.
Yeah, it is, and I want to add in there that I almost forgot to make mention of this part. I was like, I got to make sure that I mention this. And so with the crabs being so they were probably scared in that they released, and I should have wrote it down. They released a different form from being scared, and instead of being happy and going out peaceful. So the meat probably tasted worse than it would had she done it in a more thoughtful way.
Yeah, like tensing up and all that stuff.
And
too.
it released they didn't turn into lactic acid or something like that. It's like the opposite. Or I don't know. It was
I think
That's just where
what
mine-
makes us happy is what do they call it? Dopamine.
Yes.
Dopamine makes us happy and stuff, and it was probably the opposite.
Serotonin and so.
Yeah. So poor crabs. Yeah. Did you know? I did not know that they can feel pain though. That's the overall did you know section of it. Okay. So that was that one. Let me just try to play. Oh, yes. Here we go. Are we doing the rant of the day, or are we going to do the joke of the day first?
It's up to you.
What do we want to do?
Let's do a rant first and then joke.
Okay.
Okay.
Here we go. Here is my.
Yeah, because I want to do the joke when Tyler's here too. So.
Okay. So that would be last.
whenever.
Oh, and then I got a shout out that I need to give to my nephew here before we get off the air and stuff. I just got a message from my brother, so I'm gonna make sure we do that one. Okay. All right. So the rant of the day.
Oh my God, that's so terrible.
My rant. DJ Guaranteed. We'll go with DJ Bethani and then MCBKC.
Okay.
You go. My rant is crabby people. This crabby people. Here is why it's my rant. All right. Why? Because it rubs off on everybody else, and so I don't tell anybody. But I was crabby this morning, okay? And there was a moment where I had to check myself. You know? I was crabby, you know, with my kids, and I was trying to get work stuff done and get ready for the show and all this and that. And so what happens, it's a weird thing that works out, because I got a phone call, and I was frustrated, and I was on my way to work and everything and trying to do all this and that and stuff. And I answered, I said, "What?" And there was this poor lady on the other side, just like, "Hey, I'm trying to get a hold of, are you Garan?" And everybody does this. You're like, "Is this a bill collector?" You know what I mean? You know, like, no, he's not here. Can I take a message? But I said, "No, this is Garan. This is Garan." And so I didn't say what, you know what I mean? I was just like, usually I say, "Hello, how can I help you?" or something like that. I just said hello. And I was you could probably hear it in my voice and stuff. And she was chipper. Anyways, she's called and she said she's going to do a feature magazine story on my son, Onipa, and his grass dance efforts. Changed. I was like, oh, you know, I got to stop being crabby, because that is just how it works out.
Sure.
Crabby people. My rant of the day.
Hey man, no, and I was telling him, like, you can, you know, if you're very like susceptible to the energy around you, you'll soak up all that crabbiness. So
And it rubs off.
yes,
And it makes other people crabby.
Yes.
So, crabby people. DJ Bethani.
okay.
Let the train finish.
I know. But okay, so initially I was gonna go with just a simple one of like someone stealing your food when you have it in the fridge. But your rant of the day actually inspired this rant of the day, because when you go about to like a place where it's like, say you just stop at the store to grab a drink or whatever, and you just get the most like horrible service. And I'm not saying like you gotta hold the door open for me or nothing, but geez, like a rude cashier or a rude server or whatever it may be, but just like they just rub off, you know, and you just walk out like, that was horrible, and it almost makes you not want to go back to that place again.
Right.
Whatever it may be.
Yes, and the tip thing, man.
So it's like, especially if you deal with customers on a day-to-day basis, whatever you got to do to make yourself happy, you got to do that, because it shouldn't be, I don't know, like what I'm trying to say, like you bring it to work with you, and then here you are like being mean to everybody, and like your coworkers, your I don't know, like your customers, like I don't know. Especially if you deal with people on a day-to-day, I think you should check yourself before you wreck yourself.
There you go. Definitely. MCBKC, what you got?
Well, first, I guess a couple of feedback for you guys. The one that you were reminding me of, especially in the service industry, it is a hard thing to take care of people, and especially if like servers at a restaurant and stuff like that, which is why I usually try to be very, liberal and open with the tipping policy that I have internally. But if you ever want a good, I guess, and also very much real life based scenario, watch the movie Waiting.
Oh yeah, I've seen that movie.
Yes, have you seen that, Karen? Oh my gosh, definitely not kid friendly, but at the same time, I've known servers. I've never myself been one, but they were like, oh my God, that's so true, and whatever. So the whole thing top to bottom. It's one of the best movies ever, and I think one of Ryan Reynolds' best portrayals at all. So that's a very good one. And then when you were saying crabby, forgive me, but I'm gonna bust her out in this a little bit. I always have to laugh because my wife Sharon, she usually drives our granddaughters to school every morning, and so when she gets out there, she picks them up, and she's always, hi, how are you doing? And then every now and then she says our youngest granddaughter comes in and she's like a little crabby and or whatever and not feeling it and stuff like that, and well, what's the matter? And then she says it, Winona was crabby today. She doesn't call her mom. She says her name. Oh my God, I'm sorry, Noah. I'm sorry, but every time I heard that, I couldn't help but laugh. It's like, oh my God. So I definitely know, and it happens. Yes, we're all parents. We've all been there. But yeah, stuff like that. So my rant of the day is actually going to be a takeoff on that. The thing when you go to a restaurant, and I always understand, especially when it's busy, I get it and stuff like that. But when the person is bussing your table in front of you and you can tell that they're using like a rag from somewhere else, it's like, no, dude, come on. It's like, don't just take the stuff away, and I almost cussed. Take the stuff away, and you can see like that greasy film on the table. Yeah, and it's like,
Oh, so greasy rags.
Yes, when they're cleaning, it's like it's not supposed to be. I'm not looking for sterile, come on. But it's like, man, dude, give it some love. Don't just take a rag from somewhere and whatever. So
yes, good. That was a good one. Makes you think, and now I'm gonna really pay attention and stuff. It's like,
well, and I get it. Restaurants, especially when I actually prefer to be at a restaurant when it's busy. Simply because the kitchen's hopping and everything's flowing and stuff like that. Same thing like if you ever go to any kind of buffet, hit it when it's busy. Because they're moving the food, and every now and then, they will run out of something and whatever, but it's moving. Because when you're there too late, it's like, God, how long has it been sitting there? And it's like, so definitely stuff like that.
Definitely. Okay. All right. So we are going to go with the first round of The Answer Is.
Okay.
All right. Here we go.
All right, so MC Eves has this on his computer. So Tyler, put on your headphones, right? So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, so we have the answer is, and there is multiple choice for 4 of them. One of them you just have to guess, all right? Question number 1. Over the weekend, the Kentucky Derby was ran. The grandest of them all, the Kentucky Derby is. How many times has that been run? Now, how many times has the Kentucky Derby been run?
There's multiple choice.
Multiple choice
I'll
if you
take
need
that.
it. Was it the 184th, the 128th, the 151st, or the 166th? Kentucky Derby, how many of them have there been? 184, 128, 151, 166.
I don't see them outlasting the homecoming celebration. No, I'm just kidding. I'm going to say 120.
128?
Yeah,
That
128.
is letter B. Okay, and I have to keep
Beep,
you
beep, beep,
that score,
beep.
so that's letter B. Okay, so then the second question. Also, because it was the Kentucky Derby, setting up the first leg of the potential Triple Crown, which is typically the second race run for that title. So the Kentucky Derby comes first. What is typically second? Multiple choice if you need it.
I'll take that multiple choice.
The Belmont Stakes, the Preakness Stakes, the Meadows Trifecta, Saratoga Downs Exacta. The Belmont Stakes.
This one.
The Preakness Stakes.
I kind of know it, but
The Meadows Trifecta, Saratoga Downs Exacta.
this one's tough.
Nah.
Which is typically the
I'll regret
second
making that
leg
face.
of the Triple Crown.
I take it you're not a horse racing watching fan.
No. Saratoga.
Saratoga Downs, that is
Yeah.
letter D. Okay. So then on to question 3. Also over the weekend, Lady Gaga broke a world record by performing for more than 2 million fans live. In which city did she achieve this phenomenal feat? Multiple choice if you need it.
Love Gogs. Did not know she was performing.
Yes.
I'll take multiple choice.
Barcelona, Madrid, Rio de Janeiro, Singapore. In which city did she break the world record for performance in front of fans? Over 2 million, actually I think it was 2.5, but it was over 2 million live audience members. Barcelona, Madrid, Rio de Janeiro, Singapore.
Yeah, Lee, where did they have that concert at? Was it like in a?
It was outdoor, yes.
It was outdoor stadium or
partially related with a stadium, but was kind of like this huge area. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And then they, of course, had video screens, because
Yeah.
2 million can't get that close to a stage. So,
Right.
yeah.
I'm gonna say Madrid.
Madrid, that is letter B. Okay. So question number 4 is something you just have to know outright. There is no choice.
Okay.
The oldest powwow in North America returns to Winnebago later this year. How many years will the Winnebago people celebrate come July?
159.
59. Okay. Then finally, question number 5. There is multiple choice. According to Wikipedia, as a national event, when was the first Mother's Day celebrated? Multiple choice if you need it.
I'll take that multiple choice.
1898, 1888, 1908, 1914. 1898,
Speaking of that,
1888,
I want to throw a challenge out there for
1908,
yeah.
1914.
Sorry about that.
No worries.
Messed you up, huh?
Go ahead. No.
So what? No, I'm just
You
kidding.
said the challenge, so what's the challenge?
What's the challenge?
Oh, challenge. Yeah. Think of a song dedicated for ARL of your mom.
For your Mother's Day,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah. So like, if one of the songs, Caribbean Queen by who is it?
Billy Ocean.
Billy Ocean reminds me of my mom for some reason. I don't know why. But if you have a song that reminds you of your mom, send it to DJ Bethany.
Can you say that again?
Yes. 1898, 1888, 1908, 1914. When was, as a national event, the first Mother's Day celebrated?
What are those two?
1898, 1888, 1908, 1914.
I'm gonna go with 88.
1888?
Yeah.
Okay. And that is our 5 questions of Did You Know?
Let's see what happens here.
So with that, yeah, is that the only song that reminds you of her, or others?
No. There's others and stuff,
Sure.
but she.
If you had to guess her favorite song, what would it be?
Oh, my
Do you know
goodness.
that?
Yes, that is a good question.
Okay.
We should bring our moms up here and grill them. I had my mom up here way back in season 1 of Winnebago Talks,
Oh,
and
really?
she talked
Okay.
about the dance troupe a little bit, and
Yep.
that was
Okay.
I had you guys do the interview. But yeah, man, that's an interesting question. I would I know my mom's favorite song?
And while we're thinking of these things, you guys throw that out there. Do you know your mother's favorite song? If you had to guess, what would your mom's favorite song be?
I know that we tease her about like the Green Onion song,
Okay.
That
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
And-
Oh, geez, are we gonna get? I just thought about
Just for
that.
singing it.
I know. I was like,
Do you know your mom's favorite song?
No.
We should know our mom's favorite song. Come on, we're DJs, guys. No, but anyways, let's go to this
shake it
one.
like a salt shaker. No, I'm just kidding. All right. So which one are we gonna do? The questions? All right.
Yeah.
So 4 of them have multiple choice, Tyler. 1 of them does not. You just have to know the answer. Okay. Ready for question 1?
She's pumped. Look at that. Game face.
I love that.
Tyler
That was
came
such
in
an
with the
exciting
headband.
show. It really was. Okay. Question number
Your
1.
sleeper rolled up.
Over the weekend, the Kentucky Derby ran. The grandest of them all, the Kentucky Derby is. How many times has it been ran now?
Do a little wagering, don't you? You
There's
should know.
multiple choice.
Got this.
Get the multiple.
Was it the 184th, the 128th, the 151st, or the 166th?
148.
There is no 140.
Oh.
184, 128, 151, 166.
151.
151, that is letter C. And the answer is it was the 151st. Yes, so
Good
Tyler
one.
got that right.
How'd you know
It's
that?
all up here.
Yes, she was at all of them.
Had the
Yes.
hat on.
I know.
Those
Real
with
dramatic
derby
ones.
hats.
Yeah.
Might as well blocking everyone else's view.
I am the view.
Down in
man.
front. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, question number 2 then. Because over the weekend, the Kentucky Derby being run, setting up the first leg of the potential Triple Crown, which is typically the second race run for the title. So, of course, the Kentucky Derby is the first leg. What is the second? Multiple choice if you need it.
Multiple.
The Belmont Stakes, the Preakness Stakes, the Meadows Trifecta, Saratoga Downs Exacta.
Ooh, those last two kind of sound. I'm gonna go C.
The Meadows Trifecta.
Can I tell
No,
you?
no, I'm
Yep.
gonna go B.
D. Saratoga Downs.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what she said too, right?
Yes, they both did.
Is there a bar up in Sioux City called Saratoga?
There used to be in
There used
Dakota
to be?
City. It's now Dave's.
Is it called Dave's now?
Yes, across from the DG.
Ask them if they want to sponsor it. No, but it's either the Preakness or the Belmont. I know that, but I'm gonna say the Preakness.
Letter B.
Yeah.
Okay, and guaranteed is correct. It is the Preakness Stakes. Yes.
Yeah, they're trying to go for that Triple Crown. So
Yes,
that's-
indeed. So you both got that incorrect. So
They call it the Kentucky Derby or the horse racing the greatest 2 minutes on earth or
Yes.
something like that. They say
Yes.
because it's so exciting.
in sports.
Really?
Oh yeah, the greatest 2 minutes in sports.
Yes.
I just know because on Shark Tales they do that.
Do they?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, 1-0. So question number 3 then. Also over the weekend, Lady Gaga broke a world record by performing for more than 2 million fans. In which city did she achieve this phenomenal feat? Barcelona, Madrid, Rio de Janeiro, Singapore.
Dang.
Actually, I think it was 2.5 million, but was it in Barcelona, Madrid, Rio de Janeiro, Singapore?
I'm gonna say Rio.
That is letter C. Final answer?
Yeah.
All right, and it is letter C. It was in Rio de Janeiro.
I
Yeah.
was like, where would a crowd be?
Yeah.
Yes. So,
huge.
but it has happened in other places as well because Madonna did it before and she was the world title holder. And I also think it was Rio.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so
Rio's where
2.5
it's at,
million?
no
yeah,
crowd.
2.5. When you see the footage of it, it's just like, oh my God. Just the throngs of people. And like I said, these massive, massive video screens kind of in a circular place. And then her stage, it wasn't like down, it was up. And like she was up on top. And it was really, really phenomenal.
That's amazing.
Find that video.
Yes, it is. All right. So that is 2 for Tyler. Okay, question number 4. No multiple choice. You just have to know it. The oldest powwow in North America returns to Winnebago later this year. How many years will the Winnebago people celebrate come July?
No. 159.
159, and you are both correct. You get to keep your enrollment cards. Yes, because we were
Cut
gonna,
mine up.
Yes, we were going to revoke that. So you're both correct. All right. So then
did it.
finally, question number 5. According to Wikipedia, as a national event, when was the first Mother's Day celebrated? Multiple choice if you need it.
I need it.
1898, 1888, 1908, 1914.
I'm gonna say 98.
1898?
It was recent. Terrible.
1998. No, incorrect for both you guys. It was actually a proclamation passed by Congress and signed by President Woodrow Wilson. So 1914. Although locally 1908 was the first day, according to the family that began the ceremonies.
Imagine being the first family to care about your mom.
Well, it's actually related to her passing. So
Oh,
yeah, it was kind of crazy. And you can Wikipedia that out there. So with the winner, Tyler won 3-1, and there is a
Tyler, there you go.
Yes, there is a tiebreaker, and all three of you get a chance for this. Yesterday, of course, was the Cinco de Mayo. What is that day celebrating? A, the liberation of Mexico City from the Portuguese. B, the conquest of the Alamo by Santa Anna. C, a day for gringos to slam Dos Equis, Coronas, and eat guacamole. D, the Battle of Puebla, victory over France.
D.
D for Tyler.
I'm
I
with
read
Tyler
it on
on that.
Facebook this morning. No.
I'm gonna go with C. Nah, this one.
What'd you guess?
I said D with
Oh,
Tyler.
Yes, and Tyler is yes. The Battle of Puebla and the victory over France. Yes, but I agree with Guaranteed wholeheartedly. Yes, it is the day for gringos to slam the Dos Equis y Coronas. So yes.
Oh,
It's
that
just
should have been my
guacamole.
rant, man. Did you guys watch those fights? I know you guys didn't because
Fights.
nobody could. I mean, so there was a triple header this weekend, and it's probably to celebrate Cinco de Mayo.
Oh, huh.
But on it was kind of cool because on Friday they had New York Times Square. They put a ring right in Times Square.
Oh, wow.
And they
Okay.
drove the fighters in. One came in, I think it was Garcia. He came in on the Batmobile. And then the other guy came in on a lowrider, and he came from like 4 blocks away. I mean, it was like crazy and stuff. So Ryan lost, right? And he blamed the gas fumes of the Batmobile. Batmobile got him. That's what he said and stuff. You know what I mean? But he said it was so weird, you know, just kind of like that. They probably cooled off. And it was like a sparring session. So that was Friday. It was horrible to watch. Then Saturday, Canelo Alvarez, he fights. And the guy just runs and collects a paycheck. He got $2 million to run from Canelo the whole night. It was horrible. It was horrible. But Sunday, I think a guy from Japan fought, and he ended up knocking him out. That kind of saved the weekend and stuff. But they announced Terrence, and they'll probably talk about it tomorrow on the sports show. But
So, one of our viewers, it's Anubis Q1911. They said, and I don't know if that's the fighter you're talking about, the Inua or INUOE.
yeah.
Saved the weekend.
Yeah.
And it said Queen Ryan.
Yeah, it was a good fight and stuff. I got a text that said, hey, you should check out this fight. So I did, and they're calling it almost like the fight of the year. So that saved the weekend. And they announced Terrence Crawford and Canelo in September. Now, if anybody wants to give me a birthday present, I won't hesitate. It's going to be on Friday. It's not going to be on Saturday. It's going to be on Friday at the Allegiant Stadium, where you've been. I have yet to be. You've seen Abel Tesfaye there at the weekend and stuff. But okay, so we're going to go into the next section. We got, oops, sorry. The joke of the day.
It's the joke of the day. Don't say I didn't warn you, okay? So, where do bad rainbows go?
Where did bad
Prism.
Where do bad rainbows
To Prism.
go?
I don't know.
Yes, to
It's
Prism.
a light sentence.
It's a light sentence. Yes,
I said this before.
but it gives them time to reflect.
Yes. I love it.
I don't think I heard you say it before.
That's one
Otherwise
of my
I picked one
favorite
different,
jokes
so.
ever.
Okay.
Next week, rant of the day is going to be people with fake laughs.
I just did one.
Was that real or was that fake? No, nonetheless.
I think it's good.
All right, guys. I want to give a shout out here to my nephew, Jerison, is going to be having a birthday, man. And then also my little son, Garrick. So I appreciate everybody's prayers and stuff. He was helping his mom. And, man, he smashed his... So another rant of the day is get rid of those folding chairs and stuff. But anyways, man, he had surgery yesterday and everything. He's on road to recovery. We posted about it, but he's very articulate. You ever get to see the series Sheldon?
Yes.
The little kid. A lot of people say, man, he reminds me of Sheldon and stuff like that. So if you see him, he's gonna tell you the story, and he added on to the story yesterday because all the things. And the thing that he told me, and it was weird because I got to hear it, is that I wasn't there for his surgery and stuff. His mom took him, but they put the laughing gas on him.
Sure.
And he remembers that. He's like,
Okay.
and you know that gas? They put the gas mask on? It made me laugh. He didn't know. What is it, nitrous? Is that what it's called?
It's various forms, but yeah. So.
But shout out to my nephew and my son.
I'm gonna give a shout out to my nephew Braylon. He recently had his birthday, and so happy birthday to him. And then we were talking about Mother's Day, so I want to give an early Mother's Day shout out to my mom as well as all the other moms out there. My sister Maddie, Tyler, Christina, my sister-in-law Aaliyah, Cynthia. I don't want to leave nobody out. Hold on, let me get my list out. No, just kidding. But just all the moms in
We gotta
the
go
world.
3 rounds of these shout outs and stuff because I got another one too, you know what I mean? Anyways, keep going.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
Hold on.
Happy belated birthday. It happened. We had the party, but happy birthday to my nephew Avon. It's cool just watching him grow and get into his personality and
How old?
7.
7.
My bad.
Same
Yeah,
age as Garrick's, yeah?
Yeah.
Awesome.
And then happy early birthday and happy early Mother's Day to my mom, May 9th.
Nice. Good shout out.
Okay, so of course, happy Mother's Day to everyone out there, and my shout out is going to be today is my mom's birthday. Happy birthday, Mom!
Oh, cool.
Enjoying whatever she does, what she does, and I mean that in this way. Some people don't get it, but she's doing what she wants to do up in the motherland.
Oh, all right. Wisconsin. Nice, nice. DJ Blue is going to be walking across the stage with his master's degree on Saturday. So at Wayne State College. Little Priest Tribal College. Largest graduation class ever at Little Priest, walking across the stage on Saturday. Winnebago Public School getting their high school diplomas on Saturday. That's a historical thing. Shout out to everybody that's part of the class of 2025. You guys have a good rest of your day. Thank you for joining us here at Winnebago Talks. You guys see you next Tuesday, 100.9 FM, KWTN, the official radio station of the Winnebago Tribe.